Welcome. In this video we are going to discuss about immunoblotting. Now separation of mixture of proteins using electrophoretic techniques usually results into a complex pattern of protein bands or protein zones. Okay, if you are doing separation of mixture of proteins by using electrophoresis, then there is formation of this complex pattern of protein bands and protein zones. But the thing is that if you want to identify specific protein, then you must use immunoblotting technique, which is also referred to as Western blotting. Okay, so specific proteins are identified by this immunoblotting technique, which is also known as Western blotting. Now this technique, immunoblotting, requires antibody against the test protein. Okay, there is an antibody against the test protein. Now you do initial separation by using electrophoretic technique on a gel, and then the proteins from the gel are transferred or blotted to the membrane of nitrocellulose or polyvinylidene difluoride. Okay, so what you are doing, you have the mixture of proteins, you are separating it by gel electrophoresis, and the gel that you get, the proteins from that gel are transferred to the membrane, and the membrane can be made up of nitrocellulose or it can be the polyvinylidene difluoride. Now during the transfer process, the gel is placed at the negative electrode, that is the cathode, and membrane is placed at the positive electrode, that is anode. Okay, during the transfer process, during the blotting of proteins from the gel to membrane, at cathode you have the gel and at anode you have the membrane. Now proteins which are coded with negatively charged SDS move from the negative side to the positive side. That is, they move from the gel to the nitrocellulose membrane. And this is what our aim is, to blot, to transfer the proteins from the gel onto the nitrocellulose membrane. And you achieve this by placing the gel at the negative electrode, that is cathode, and the nitrocellulose at the positive electrode, that is anode, so that the negatively charged protein can move from negative side to positive side, that is from gel to nitrocellulose membrane. So this is how it looks. This is your setup for immunoblotting. Okay, so you have cathode here, you have anode here, and these are the support grid, then pad, then filter paper, then you have gel, then you have transfer membrane, and these three things are there to support. So your gel has the proteins and it is placed at the side of cathode, and at the side of anode you have transfer membrane. So once you induce the electric field through this system, then the negatively charged protein from the gel will go to the transfer membrane, because those negatively charged proteins will move from cathode to anode. Okay, so in this setup you have support grid, you have pads, you have filter paper, you have gel, you have transfer membrane. Now similar to ELISA, the nitrocellulose membrane that we got, which contains the resolved proteins, is first incubated with unrelated proteins. And why this is done? It is done to block the non-specific protein binding site on the membrane. And then that nitrocellulose membrane is treated with suitable primary antibody, which is specific for protein of interest. Okay, so after doing the blotting, you have nitrocellulose membrane which contains the resolved proteins from the gel. You incubate it with the unrelated protein. This step is done to block the non-specific protein binding site on the membrane. And after this, after you have incubated with unrelated protein, that nitrocellulose membrane is treated with suitable primary antibody, which is going to be specific for protein of interest. After that, the excess of protein is washed from the membrane and the bound antibody is detected by using secondary antibody. So you have target protein, that to that target protein this antibody is bound, and this bound antibody is then detected by using another antibody which is known as secondary antibody. Now these secondary antibodies are conjugated with fluorescent or radioactive labels or enzymes, and they give a subsequent reaction when it is subjected to a particular reagent, and you will get a coloring emission of light which will enable the detection of this secondary antibody, and the detection of secondary antibody leads to the detection of that bound antibody, and the detection of that bound antibody will lead to the detection of the target protein which we are looking for in the mixture of proteins. Okay, so this is how it is detected by using a secondary antibody. Now this labeled secondary antibody which binds to the primary antibody enhances the sensitivity of the primary antibody. Okay, the sensitivity of the primary antibody is enhanced by the binding of this labeled secondary antibody. And what is primary antibody? Well, primary antibody is that antibody which reacts with the target molecule. Okay, so this reaction will be more efficient if when the secondary antibody binds to the primary antibody. Now, in case of fluorescent labeled secondary antibodies, the amplification is usually several fold. So this is how immunoblotting looks like. Now immunoblotting uses antibodies to detect specific proteins, right? Now first what we do, we separate proteins through polyacrylamide gel, okay, before subjecting it to the nitrocellulose membrane. Okay, so first we separate our proteins on the polyacrylamide gel by doing the SDS page, and then we take that gel and we transfer those proteins on a membrane by doing electrotransfer. Now the membrane in which we have the resolved proteins from the gel is washed with solubilized milk powder so that non-specific protein binding sites are blocked. Okay, this membrane is treated with solubilized milk powder so that the non-specific protein binding site on this membrane are blocked. After this, okay, after blocking the non-specific protein binding site, this membrane is incubated with primary antibody, that is AB1, and then this primary antibody is going to bind to the target protein that we want to identify. Okay, in the bands of this protein, the primary antibody is going to bind to that specific protein that we want to isolate, and that is the reason why on the first place we are using this specific primary antibody. And after this, okay, after adding the primary antibody, in this stage the primary antibody has bound to our target protein. Okay, after that we incubate this thing with the secondary antibody, okay, which is represented by AB2, enzyme linked AB2, and then we wash excess AB2, and when we treat this thing with appropriate substrate, then color change on the membrane will occur and we will be able to observe AB2. And if we are able to observe AB2, it means we are able to observe AB1, and if we are able to observe AB1, then that is our target protein. So this thing is your target protein to which AB1 has bound, and it is showing color because of the fact that to that AB1 the AB2 has bound, which is giving color in the presence of a particular substrate. So this is how the immunoblotting works. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Stay tuned.